Yeah. Yeah, absolutely excited to have Katelyn Tarver on the podcast today. How have things been going for you?
Hello, I'm excited to be here. Things have been good. Yeah, things have been great.
Yeah, so you're kind of fresh off of an album release, and I guess kind of before we even get into that, I always love starting with, what kind of music did your parents listen to growing up, and when you found your own ear, what did you start to listen to?
I mean, my parents I grew up listening to a lot of like Christian music, like sort of like contemporary Christian, like almost like
Mm.
pop, like Christian pop music. I liked because I grew up in South Georgia, so I grew up, sort of in that kind of religious context. And so I listened to a lot of that. I listened to a lot of like classic kind of like 70s, like Carole King, James Taylor.
Hmm.
My parents would my dad was always fiddling with the guitar, playing like trying to learn an Eric Clapton song, or
Hmm.
kind of like those classics. And then, I mean, one of my earliest memories, like I loved just like female singers. Like I remember loving like Celine Dion and like
Yeah,
Whitney Houston and
of
like,
course.
these just big voices, and even like Shania Twain or Leanne Rhymes, like, sort of just these female artists that were singing and doing something that I was like, that looks fun. And
Right.
I'm loving this music. And I remember singing along to I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston. And like, and sometimes I wonder if I made this up, but I don't think I did, which is when I was singing along to I Will Always Love You, and I kind of like tried to hit, kind of sing along with Whitney. Obviously, I
Right.
wasn't hitting the notes
Big
she was
big
hitting,
task. Yeah.
but I was like, I feel like I hit some kind of falsetto, like, "Ee,"
Hmm.
and I was like, oh my God, like, mom, listen, I can sing.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, like that's kind of what I remember,
Mm.
my sort of journey being with like discovering I could sing, discovering music.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I think we all kind of have that moment, right? Where like we're like we can sing, I just have the music turned up really too loud, and you can't really hear yourself. You just hear them, and you're just like you feel like you're on point
Yeah, I'm
with
like,
what's happening.
I
Uh,
sound amazing.
yeah, I remember doing that.
Um,
I would do that. My parents were big country listeners, so I did that with like Garth Brooks growing up and
yeah,
like Tim McGraw type stuff. So
yes,
I
exactly.
definitely get it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
So you're fresh off. You had an album release. Geez, like about a month ago ish, somewhere in
Hmm.
there.
Hmm.
Called "Tell Me How You Really Feel," and
Yeah.
yeah, I just love obviously a very feels very heavy in terms of an album. You just kind of walk us through the backstory a little bit, some themes that can be kind of found throughout.
Yeah. I mean, I guess like in its like most kind of surface level description, it's like a divorce album. I got married really young and was married almost 10 years, and then uh split up and wrote an album about kind of the year following that split.
Yeah.
But there's always like a lot of build up leading to a breakup. There's always a lot of fallout after. I was trying
Mm,
to capture as much as I could about what the experience felt like. But,
yeah.
I think if you even go back into some of my albums before this one, you can sort of hear moments of me sort of being on this journey I've been on, of like, I don't know. I mean, I guess really just self discovery and growing up and being like, what do I really want? And what am I after? And what do I care
Mm,
about? And why are we here? And, just sort of the classic existential dread
sure.
we all sort of face at some point. And I think being
Hmm.
a songwriter and being an artist, you're sort of contending with those questions and trying to make stuff about it.
Hmm.
And so I don't know, that's kind of like what I was writing about, I never like went through a phase of like, I don't know, like being young and dating around. Like I've been in this industry a long time and kind of didn't have like a phase of my life where I felt like I was really finding myself.
Yeah.
And so I was doing a lot of that, just a little bit later than most people do it.
Yeah.
And, sort of on the other side of a massive breakup, a divorce, like, you're obviously
Mm.
thrown into um, a really wild time in life. And I was very just aware that I was never going to be, well, hopefully, but I was probably never going to be in that particular place ever again. So I wanted to
Right.
try and capture it as much as possible. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, that's kind of where I was at.
So in terms of like songwriting in general, has being as honest as it feels and as forthcoming, has that always been kind of the goal for you, or has it always come easy to be kind of really vulnerable in the music you write?
I mean, yeah, it's something been kind of, I guess, building towards, and I don't even know if it was like consciously. I think as I got older, as my like taste developed, as I sort of started to realize what I really appreciate in music and art and how people share themselves, I really was drawn to that vulnerability, that honesty, that like, people putting themselves out there in order for you to feel more connected and,
Yeah.
human and seen. And so I think the more I felt drawn to that, the more I wanted to try and do it. So yeah, I think it was kind of this gradual thing of like my music getting more and more kind of honest and confessional and in that kind of
Yeah.
space.
Yeah. Yeah, after listening through the album, I think my favorite song off of it is one called "No Matter What," and
Oh, cool.
would just love to hear, yeah, just kind of the backstory on that one in particular, and kind of the um, yeah, just kind of the feelings.
Yeah, that was like one of the first songs I wrote for it. It was very fresh, like from what I had been through. Like it was like
Yeah.
which I think you can kind of feel in the lyrics. I think, after a breakup, I mean, in my situation, a divorce, which, you know, I guess has a heavier sound to the word,
Sure.
but
Yeah.
essentially it's just a breakup and
Hmm.
after a long-term relationship and, this person that I'd had by my side for over a decade and all of a sudden it's over. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. I think just like that song was, I think the loop you can kind of go on of like, if you feel like maybe a relationship is run its course or the only thing left to do is end it,
Yeah.
that's still like it's like still such a hard thing to actually do and to actually grasp. And so then you're like, well, no, no, no. And then you're going through the down the paths of like, well, what if we could have done this more? Or what if we could have done this
Right.
more? Or what if I did this instead of this? And, all the what ifs you're cycling through. And because it's such a massive life change, and it's like, no, it's not like gonna go this way. And then you're like, well, what if I would have done this? And and then
Mm.
kind of coming back to that place of like, I guess acceptance of like what's happening.
Yeah.
And sort of trying to make peace with like, you know, maybe it was always going to end like this, no matter what we did. Like, no matter if we would have done all these different things differently, like,
Right.
we could have maybe still ended up in the same place. And I think so. It's a very heartbreaking song, but also kind of just about that, like, I guess, acceptance you eventually have to get to when a relationship ends, or else you're just going to be swallowed up in the sadness forever.
Right. Yeah. I think it's very easy to like even in anything, right? It's easy to question ourselves in that space of like thinking one little thing this way or another way, would that change the major outcome of it? And it's
Yeah.
tough. It's tough to kind of go look through those feelings and like you said, kind of come out on the other side or kind of be swallowed up by it.
Yeah. And I think also, like, for me, the idea of doing the right thing and choosing the right path and like not
Mm,
making a mistake, because if I make a mistake I'm going to throw my entire life off course and it's going to be my fault.
sure.
Like the anxiety of like doing the right thing and making the right
Yeah.
choice is so has been such a huge thing for me in my life, and I think, we all deal with that, but like it's so intense, and I think learning to let go of that concept as a whole um is like one of the themes of this record too, of just like, there might not be a right path.
Mm,
Like you just have to make some choices and then make more and then make more, and
yeah.
you just keep going, and like, you know
Yeah.
I
It's
don't know, I feel like I've seen like on TikTok,
yeah.
or are you still there?
Hello. Hello. You there?
I'm here.
Lost you. I don't know what happened there.
Same. I was really going on and on, and then you
Uh,
froze, and it was like I felt like I was on, a phone
yeah.
call, just like
Yeah. You froze pretty early on in the response there.
I don't know where I froze for you,
Yeah.
but I
You're
was really
good.
cooking on something.
You were cooking, maybe it's there when I go back
Maybe
through.
it was the
I'm not sure.
universe's way of being like, that's not really necessary to say.
Maybe yeah.
We're gonna
Um,
freeze her.
yeah. I guess we'll kind of we'll move on here a little bit. So you, you've said you've been in the industry for a while. I guess kind of when it comes to uh, album releases, is there like this inherent anxiety to releasing something, and especially maybe this particular one where it is this very deep wound, or is it just kind of you're happy it's out and you're happy to kind of move on from it?
um it's pretty anxiety inducing. Like
Mm,
it's all of it. I am very happy to have it out. It feels good to have it out there as a full project and have, just like, all right, like now it's out in the world, maybe people will find it. It has a life of its own now.
sure.
And that's a nice feeling. But yeah, it's very anxiety inducing. It's very exposing. It's so vulnerable. It's like the most I mean, I'm friends with a lot of comedians, and I sort of appreciate like sometimes their like I feel like sometimes as a musician or someone, it's like, you sort of feel like you have to put this face on of like, I'm really proud of what I've done, and I love it, and I love music, and I love being an artist, and like I hope you like it. Like it's like almost
Right.
like this performance, and I think I was with someone the other day. She was like, I just, I put out a special, and I was like, God, why do I do this? Like, I hate this. I hate doing this. I hate putting something out, because it's just like the feeling of like utter, just like loss of control. You have no
Mm,
control over how anyone like whether they like it, whether they hate it. You just like, hey, like here I am, and then it's like,
mhm.
someone could just comment on TikTok like, this is not for me, or this
Yeah.
is bad, or why is it, and it's gonna throw me off for a week, and it's just
Mm.
like you kind of like, I don't know, I get to this point where I'm just like, why have I chosen to do this with my life?
Right.
Um, but I don't know. It's like
It's
some weird mystical thing that
mm,
you know, takes place.
yeah.
But yeah, it's all of it. I am happy it's out, and then also it is very, it's just hard not to be like, I hope everyone loves it.
Right. Right. Yeah, I think it's just
You
like it's
know?
just that human condition, right? That like,
Yeah.
you do want this acceptance of things, and kind of being, like you said, not in control of whether people like it or not is very anxiety inducing. Yeah, just loss of
Yeah.
control in general. Being accepting of those things feels very hard, to say the
Yeah.
least.
Yeah.
Uh,
But yeah, it's very, I don't know, it's also very fun, and
yeah.
I feel grateful to get to do it for real.
Mhm. Yeah. So you're, I guess the would you describe this in a, in a very genre fluid world? It feels like, would you put this in like the like an indie pop category? Is that where it kind of lives, you think?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like singer-songwriter, indie pop
Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
There's some
It's
like
funny.
country influence, there's some like, more pop influence, there's
Mm,
some like pop rock, almost like early 2000s influence. Like
yeah.
it's it's all sprinkled in there.
Yeah. It's funny too. I feel like that that 2000s like rock pop rock is like, I mean, and I, we're back to this like everything is secular kind of thing, but I feel like it's like making a little resurgence into music. And as a person, as a millennial, I kind of love that.
Yeah, me too.
Grew up on it. I'm happy it's kind of back around.
Exactly.
I'm still
Yeah,
kind of back in my
totally.
element.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
it's a fun time.
Yeah.
Backline is a nonprofit organization that connects music industry professionals and their families with mental health and wellness resources. They work toward building a safer and more supported music industry by connecting this community with quality mental health care resources that truly understand this line of work. Backline operates a 24/7 crisis support hotline, helps music industry pros access wellness resources, and builds communities and support groups where industry professionals share real talk about wellness, mental health, touring, and more. For more information on Backline, visit them on the web at backline.care. That's backline.care.
Night people hanging out, looking at each other.
So you're coming off of the Big Time Rush tour, right? And
Yeah.
how was that experience for you? And what's kind of a takeaway from that one?
It was surreal in a lot of ways. I mean, that show, like, it's like I don't think any of us, well, maybe they did, but I don't know if I realized like how much it truly meant to people
Mm,
growing up. And I guess I get it, but like when I'm not watching it, I'm on it. So I was like, and it was kind of pre-social media era.
mm,
And so as it's sort of come back into the conversation, I guess, and they've been playing shows, and like people are like, "Oh my God, you were my childhood, like when your character left, and like that's when I learned heartbreak." Like it's like it really
mm.
means so much to people. And
Yeah,
I think it's really sweet. Like I was stoked to be asked to go on the tour. They're playing a huge, like world global arena tour.
yeah,
And so I was really honored to be asked, and it was like a fun concept, and we all got to tour the world together like 15 years later, like when we all kind of started out
yeah.
on this show, and like when we were so young. And then we're like, oh, let's like reunite all these years later. And like, why are we playing 2 nights at the Zego Dome in Amsterdam? Like, what?
Right.
Who could have seen this coming when we were sitting around filming this show and
That's
all
funny.
kids together? So, yeah, I just really enjoyed every minute of it, to be honest. It was like
Yeah.
so fun, and I love getting to play shows at that level, and getting to like meet fans around the world I never thought I'd be able to meet. I mean,
Mm.
you know, being in Brazil and having someone hold up a poster that they've been listening to me since my first EP. Like I just was like, huh? Like it really was mind blowing in a lot of ways. And I think just one of those experiences that I'll kind of always look back on as like a really wacky like thing that happened.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
100%. It's
Yeah.
amazing though. Like that's something,
Yeah.
like you said, that can, years and years later still have this impact. It must
I
be,
know.
yeah, it must be totally surreal, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
Um,
Yeah, it was
yeah,
fun.
and then that kind of leads up. You're going to be having your own headline tour, starting pretty soon, I think, if I
Yeah.
remember correctly. What's what's a headline tour look like for you? What are you kind of looking forward to most?
I'm really looking forward to like I haven't really gotten to do a proper headline tour where my album is out and then I go tour it. Like
Hmm.
it's always been kind of like oh, like, well, there was COVID and then it was like, I'm not, whatever. So I'm
Yeah.
excited to get the chance to do that and like have people who've lived with the record and like it be able to come out and see it live. Um, that's really exciting. And I think coming off, this like massive big time rush kind of like world,
Yeah.
to get to go back to smaller venues where the shows feel more intimate, and I think that's more of a match for my music a lot of the time. And
Hmm.
you know people who connect with it can come really see it and hopefully feel it. And um yeah, I'm excited to kind of get back to playing those more intimate shows.
Yeah, yeah, I do love the feeling of a more, a smaller, like, don't get me wrong, there's something great about a show that's at, a huge stadium, but the
Yeah,
smaller intimate shows are always yeah, just more, just feels like a closer connection to the music, I guess.
yeah, yeah.
In terms of, so a question I get to on every single one of these is if you were teaching a music class and you had to pick 4 or 5 albums that were required listening, kind of specific to your taste,
Oh my god.
what would those 4 or 5 albums be?
Oh, wow. Okay. 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 Wow. This is hard. I mean, I go with like a Casey Musgraves album,
Mhm.
maybe. I guess I'd go with Golden Hour, but I love all her albums. I mean, Same Trailer, Different Park with Merry Go Round. The song Merry Go Round, I think, is just brilliant. I remember
Yeah.
it just knocking me over, and it still does every time I put it on. So it's hard to choose Golden Hour because that doesn't have. So maybe I choose Same
Mhm.
Trailer, Different Park.
Okay. It's
Um,
tough.
I know Casey. Would do like John Mayer. Continuum. I would do what like pop. I mean, it's tempting to do like Katy Perry. Like, um, is it California? What's that album called?
I think
What
it's called
Teenage
California
Dream?
Girls, or
California Girls. Okay.
I think so, yeah.
I feel like, Teenage Dream, obviously, pop,
Yeah.
perfection, kind of like classic. It's still songwritery, but it's
Mhm.
like just massive pop hooks and
Yeah.
so good. And then that's three, right?
That's 3.
I see, this is my thing. I always want to get everything right. I'm
Well,
like, I'm
this
really
isn't a. There's
overthinking.
no right or wrong answers in this
I
one.
know, but there feels like there is. Mm, I feel like I want to do something like current. Like, I mean, I'm a huge Muna fan. I feel like I'm gonna love their new album, but it's not out yet, so I'll go with their most recent one, which I think was self-titled. Why do I not know? um, yeah, yeah, I think it was self-titled. I love that record. So yeah, let's go with those.
Okay.
Um,
So the next question I always end up getting to is, um, what song in terms of your discography are you most proud of?
mm, ooh, let's go with I think there's one called One Without the Other. That is one of my, yeah, like one I'm really proud of.
Mhm.
I think it kind of captures this um feeling for me that I kind of always come back to. It's like the song's about kind of like accepting all the different conflicting sides of yourself instead of w- battling against them.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
think, and just sort of all the, and it kind of accepting your story and like the choices you've made and things you maybe wish you would have done differently. Like all this sort of, I was really struggling for a long time with this frustration and anger at my past and choices I had made and things that had happened. And I was just really angry, and I think that song represents kind of this surrender moment for me of just like, like I've had the story I've had the life I've had, it got me to here, let's move forward, like and you can't have one without the other. That's
Yeah.
sort of the meaning of the song. And so it means a lot to me. And I think, yeah, it's just kind of this universal sort of feeling that I keep coming back to.
Yeah, I mean, it's right back on that, making, trying to make all the right choices and, coming to
Yeah.
this acceptance that, maybe there never was a right or a wrong choice. It was just, putting you on a different road, maybe
Right.
leading to the same spot. It's a,
Yeah. Yeah. There's a
you know,
theme. There's a through
it's a,
line
yeah,
here.
yeah, it's such a tough thing. It really is, because
Hmm.
you can easily make a choice and look back at it and be like, I don't know if that was the right one, but then, you think
Right.
about all those things that along the way that you never would have had because of that choice. So it's impossible. It's like
I
the
know. Yeah.
the great human condition.
Yes.
And then,
Yes.
so I live my life in music curation. So I always ask, what's a song or a project that you've, really been into recently?
I mean, I hate to say Muna again.
It's okay. Go ahead.
um, but I don't know. I just think Katie Gavin, I loved her solo record too that she put out like last year. There's a song called Baton on it, that just kind of broke me, in the best way.
Yeah.
And I just am such a fan of her songwriting. And so I love that she put out this like folky solo record that like showcased her songwriting in this type of way. And then she puts out, then with Muna, like puts out these other songs where they're just like pop, electronic, dancey, like
Yeah.
let's go to the club. But the songwriting to me is still there and like really
Mhm.
strong. And I am just like such a fan.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. So their latest single, well, they have two out at this current time. I don't know when this is coming out, but Dancing on the Wall, I was just like, oh, let's go. I just love it.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And then I guess kind of in wrapping up, what we talked about the tour a little bit. What can everybody look forward to from you? Yeah, kind
Oh,
of
also the new Haley
beyond that.
Williams record.
Oh
Sorry.
yeah, yeah.
I
No,
just
that's
needed I
that's
needed
amazing.
that on the record.
Yes, noted.
I totally cut you off. What were
You're
you gonna
good.
say?
What can everybody just kind of look forward to from you? You got the tour coming up. What else? What else is kind of on the horizon here for you?
Yeah, I've got the tour coming up, so playing these headline shows. I'd love for people to buy tickets and come out. And then I'm doing some acting stuff. I'm still acting, so I am on this new Will Ferrell Netflix show called The Hawk,
Okay, love it.
and it's coming out this summer.
Hmm.
And so I'm excited to be a part of that and kind
Yeah,
of have some acting work come out.
yeah,
And then yeah, just look out for new music. I'll be writing away and
amazing.
hopefully putting some stuff out and hopefully playing more shows and just kind of continuing to do the thing. So yeah,
Yeah, no doubt.
yeah.
Well, I appreciate you taking time, out of your morning, afternoon. Not really sure which time it is, but
It's
yeah, I can't.
morning.
Perfect. Yeah, appreciate you taking time out of your morning, and yeah, can't wait to hear what else you got coming.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Matt.
Yeah, no worries.